this is Sylvain Rochon, the peaceful revolutionary here. I've decided to pre-record something because my mind was buzzing once more. And I'm preparing a conference in early December about transformative thinking, which is the effect of the brain, how we can consciously, essentially, change our world or the way we perceive our world, hence our literal world, through changing the brain and how that works and these kind of things. For the local college here in Ottawa, well, one of the colleges here in Ottawa, and I've been thinking about the placebo effect with all sorts of questions about research and things that were going on the last few weeks. So I decided to pre-record it. My next blog, and this will go up online only over the weekend because this weekend I'll be away most of the weekend, so I won't be able to do it. So timing's great. I have time now, and my brain was really interested in doing this. So the topic is really about transformative thinking. It's about essentially using illusion to get what you want. To get pleasure, to get ahead, the power of illusion itself, and it's a little bit of a weird title because I could have titled it just maybe the placebo effect or something like that, but I wanted to make it wider, like illusion is really powerful. We're talking about our conscious dreaming, not something that has hallucinations. It's we because of the placebo effect research, essentially, like the research around how that actually happens, and other research around that, and through other topics in biochemistry of the brain, these kind of things, we've learned that the brain is essentially very, very malleable. We call it the brain is elastic. It can change, and it's biochemical. It's nothing mystical at all. But let me start with just the placebo effect, just to get you started. What that is in detail is the reaction of the body to the belief that you are taking medicine. It's specific to medicine. That's where it comes from. So you're taking about 50% of pharmacists have admitted that they give, sometimes on prescription, they give glucose pills. Glucose is natural sugar for the brain and the body. It has no curative effects, but people taking those pills think they're taking medicine. That's what the pharmacist is doing. They believe that you are not sick, and that the medicine that you want to take is going to be harmful, so they give you placebo. They give you a placebo pill, which is a fake pill. It's glucose, but you think you're taking medicine. And what's really interesting is that really strong research, good research, double-blind research, where you have a significant group of people that are taking actual medicine, and the other group is taking a placebo, so glucose, and you see results, and you see different results. I mean, where the people that are taking medicine are seeing results, but the people that are taking the placebo are also getting better as well. Not as much, but some. So they did more research on the placebo effect, where what they did is they gave they have a control group that takes nothing, and they have a control group that takes glucose pills, so pills that do nothing, and they tell them that this is going to help them with their condition, whatever it is. And the group that takes a placebo actually gets better. But there is no medicine. So it's not the medicine that makes them better. It's the belief that they're taking medicine. And interestingly enough, more research has been done about what's going on in the body with the reception. Is this just in their minds? Are there physiological impacts to that belief and effect? And then, in fact, yes, the brain actually starts, giving orders to the body, telling it to create some hormones, more protein, and different things like that to actually make the body better. So, if you are sick or you have some condition or you want some things to change with your body, if you believe that just through the power of your mind, you will improve your state of being and you will get better, you'll thinner, whatever it is, and you firmly, consciously believe it, you'll have the same effect as the placebo. Because that's what the placebo does, is through the belief. The pill does nothing, is the belief that it does something. So you can actually, instead of taking the placebo to get better, you can just consciously decide, hey body, get better. I want you to be better. So get working. And that's also fairly well researched. That also works. So that means we have an incredible amount of power through the power of illusion, just like through the imagination. We can affect our body in a very real way. What also through placebo research, research around placebo. We also discovered some other really cool neat tricks, where a person would take a placebo. They think they're taking medicine. The body does not get better. So we study the body, the biochemistry, and it doesn't cure, it doesn't heal. The body still remains the same. So there's these cases, but the individual still believes psychologically. He looks at his body, he thinks he feels better. Body's not changing. The temperature, the disease, all this stuff remains the same, but they feel better and they think they are better. So there's this two effects. We are able to observe qualitatively and quantitatively that the biochemistry does change on occasion with the placebo effect, with the belief of getting better. And in the cases where the body doesn't change, some people that have the strong belief that they are getting better from the medicine, from the placebo, I mean, they think, like they look at themselves and they think their symptoms are getting less and things like that. So there's these psychological and physiological effects to a placebo. So let's use the placebo effect to our advantage. That's what I'm teaching to people that in transformative thinking. This is the effect of the brain. The brain doesn't make a difference between reality and illusion. It doesn't. So instead of being a victim of illusion, we can use the illusion and use this capacity of our brain to heal ourselves and to make us feel like we are better, to actually do exactly that. A little side note, though, is that this does not work for everything. The placebo or not, your body sometimes needs some help. There are some cases where, for example, you have a genetic deficiency. You can't produce a certain protein. Some people have bipolar disorder, for example, that is genetic. They're lacking some protein and it makes them bipolar. Well, that means the body can't produce that protein. It literally cannot produce that protein. So wish it any way you want to not be bipolar and be stable and all this stuff, your body can't produce a protein. That means you need to take modern medicine for sure. You need to take that protein, insert that into your body, and then you can get better. It's not a catch-all cure for everything that's mystical. It's actually founded in biochemistry, the biochemistry of belief, which is also biochemical in the brain, and the biochemistry of healing and what goes into your blood, the signals from your brain to your different hormones and different hormones, different glands that produce hormone, and a chain effects in the body where if things change and get healed, the immune system reacts and blah blah blah. All this stuff. There's no mysticism around it. It's really well documented, really well checked. It's been done for years and years and years of research, and I'm posting down below some links that you can check about the placebo effects and these different things and different phenomenon that are really interesting around how the environment affects us and how we affect in the environment in ways that we can't even know, we don't really understand as well, like how we affect other people through thought, and how other people's thoughts affect us, like at a distance. We know this happens, we just don't understand how. So I'm going to put those links out too. So essentially, like if you want, and here's a catch-all. I'm going to go there. I mean, here's a catch-all thing you can do. In general, like generalization here. If you want to feel better, there's a cure. There's a single thing you can do to train your brain into being somewhere or something or thinking some way that will be a catch-all healing principle. And that is happiness. One can be happy by reaction, just by one can choose to be happy. And typically people feel joy, which is a passive act, and they choose to be happy. That's a big difference. It's a conscious decision to be happy. You need to, like, it's going into a certain mindset. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Happiness is and the biochemistry behind it is that happiness is equates itself, or is associated with a certain peptide, a hormone, not a hormone, sorry, a protein that is generated by the hippocampus, no, the thalamus, or hypothalamus. Oh geez, I'm mixing up my things. It's the hypothalamus, and that's where the emotions come from, and happiness is an emotion, right? And this little emotion goes into your body, has all its effects are positive, increases your immune system, it enhances all the chemical reaction in your body, it creates stability in your system, it creates emotional stability. And happiness is also like a good feeling. It feels good to be happy, to boot. It has all these really neat biochemical effects, right? So if you consciously choose to be happy, you know, these people that are always happy, all these nice things are always happening to them. This is essentially a placebo effect in a way, but there's real biochemistry around it, like I just described. They took a decision at some point, or they were raised in a really happy family, so their brain, actually their connections to their brain are always in that state where they see the world with happy thoughts, they see things positively, they see the positive side of things. Ergo, they always have this little protein floating around in their bloodstream that generates all these nice effects in their body. And they also have this psychological position of seeing things in a nice way, which generates the protein some more, and so on and so forth. So they feel all these other negative emotions, which have really detrimental effects on the body. Fear, sadness, disgust. These major emotions also have their peptides. These are not generated as much. Or not at all in some people. So they're always on the high, like super happy all the time, and their body is happy and healthy because it generates all these chemicals that are beneficial for the body in a semi-constant basis. So, and that's a major cure, because the placebo effects, what it taught us, like the research around it, taught us that if you believe that you get better and your body's powerful and that kind of thing, your biochemistry is going to match it and make it happen in many ways. Or at very least, you're going to feel better psychologically, even if you are sick. And that's good, because you feel better. You don't get depressed and whatnot. And depression and stress leads to sickness, right? So the catch-all cure of most things is happiness. So you should all train yourself to be happy. It doesn't take a lot of time. Just be conscious for about 2-3 weeks. Again, this is biochemistry 101 for the brain biochemistry. If you're consciously train yourself to always be positive and happy every day, you have to make a conscious effort to do that. Connections between neurons will occur to align with your thinking, with your conscious thinking. And the pathways that you no longer use because you're thinking in a different way, maybe sometimes you feel sad, or you feel negative, and things like that, and you think that way, you're not using those anymore. These pathways will degrade because you're not using them. What you don't use, you lose in your body. It's always like that. So conscious thought of happiness for 2-3 weeks, usually 3 weeks or even more, constant consciousness of that every day, and your brain changes. It becomes a happy brain, for lack of a better word, because the connections will start making you see things in a positive and happy way. And in response, because your brain is controlling the rest of your body through its connections, it will generate these hormones and these peptides, and your immune system is going to go up and all this stuff. So you won't get as sick. You still get sick on occasion, no problem, but you won't be sick as much, and you'll be happier in general, which is a great thing. So it's really cool. It's not as easy as it sounds, because being constantly, consciously trying to change something to something that you're not, to something different than you are, is hard. But that's the only thing you need to do, which means it's a simple trick. It's just hard to do, just like quitting smoking. Just stop doing it. It's simple in principle, but you have to get out of the habit and all the chemicals, and that's the hard part. You have to be consistent and consciously trying to do it. It's just the same way. Once you've done it, then your status quo, your default, is a state of happiness, because your brain is wired differently. So it would take effort to be something different. It would take conscious effort to actually change from that. So once you're in that state of happiness for a significant amount of time, it's hard to get out of it, which is great. That's where you want to be. The smoking analogy, you want the cigarette to be super good for you, and then it being very difficult to get off of it, right? So that you stay there, and it's hard to get off the state of happiness. There's no negative impact of being in that state of happiness. Absolutely not, biochemistry, psychologically. So that's your homework, guys, for today, for this week, for the next few weeks. Train yourself to be happy. Life will look better. Everybody is going to look nicer, and people are going to be positive around you. And you'll want to eliminate all these negative, nasty things that you've endured for years, that you didn't really thought were bad for you, because you're going to notice them a lot more now. And your status quo is going to be about happiness, and you're going to find those things more disturbing. And you're going to take out the weed from your garden, so to speak. So I encourage you strongly to do that. If you want to have a lot of help and tips on how to do that, I strongly recommend you visit raelacademy.org. It's seminars about happiness mostly, and a lot of workshops and teachings about that. It's been super helpful for me for about 20 years. My highest mentor, Rael, is mostly teaching those, which is great. And he's very simple, very great guy. So you can watch that. And the link is also in the down below description. All right, so for now, that's going to be done. That's going to be it for now. Hopefully, this is going to be helpful for everybody. We all want to be happy. We want to change the world. We are revolutionaries, right? We want to change the world for the better, and change starts with ourselves. So happy days ahead, and I'll talk to you next time. Ciao.